You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to www.rpurham.com. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham and Associates and happy um, post weekend. Hey, I hope y'all had a great weekend and you stayed out of trouble and you didn't do anything crazy and you actually enjoyed the Memorial Day weekend that just passed us. So, with that being said, without further ado, I want to get into because I got a very special guest with us, actually a returning guest. And guys, we got a, I guess you could say, a deep dive that we're going to get into today, and I want to get started with that. So we have none other than Rachel Ehrenfeld, Dr. Rachel Ehrenfeld. Excuse me. She is the author of the Soros Agenda, and is the founder and president of the New York-based American Center for Democracy and the Economic Warfare Institute. Dr. Ehrenfeld's multidisciplinary approach encompasses economic warfare and weapons of mass destruction mass effects, including disinformation, free speech, indoctrination, propaganda, PC coercion, lawfare, corruption, money laundering, political Islam, terrorist financing, narco-terrorism, and links between global criminal and radical networks and jihadi terrorist groups. Dr. Ehrenfeld's focuses on identifying patterns of seemingly unrelated domestic and foreign events as they link to threaten the U.S. political, social, and economic stability, and its financial system and other matters related to U.S. and Western democracies' security. Dr. Ehrenfeld successfully challenged a lawsuit launched by a Saudi financier of Al Qaeda in the UK as a weapon to silence her and others from exposing him and his ilk. Dr. Ehrenfeld's initiative and efforts led to the passage of New York State's anti-libel tourism, aka Rachel's Law, and the Speech Act, signed into law by President Obama in August of 2010. These laws protect American writers and publishers in print and on the internet from the enforcement of foreign libel judgments in the United States. She has more than 1,500 publications, 5 books, and many academic and policy papers. She was published by the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Forbes, Newsweek, Fox News, CNN, Los Angeles Times, Guardian, Herald Tribune, Huffington Post, New York Sun, and many others. Her PhD in criminology from the Hebrew University School of Law in Jerusalem, Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the some and presenting the others, Dr. Rachel Ehrenfeld. Good morning, Doctor. How are you? Oh, sorry. There you go. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Thank you for coming back. Uh, tell us what have you been up to? I think it's almost been you gone. I believe it was like August, September of last year. So what have you been up to since then, or your organization?
Oh, I've been following the and working on the links between um, China and progressive left organizations supported by different nations, including it's really the Red Green Alliance, if you want. It's the
Mm,
progressive organizations supported mainly by China, but also supported by Iran, for example, and Qatar. So this is really the Red Grid Alliance to destroy not only Israel, but the United States and the West.
Mm.
So that's what I've been doing, and who is financing them. So that's a full-time job. What can I tell
I,
you?
yeah, I can imagine it is, and it's people like you that do this kind of work, and the minions of the world, like myself. We go about our daily lives, and we don't even we rarely to not very often think about what's going on the global front and how it affects our daily lives. And what was indicative of that for me, anyways, was what happened in Washington D.C. the last week. I was going to say the other night, but
Last week.
yeah, last week
Yeah.
with the two Israeli ambassadors that worked at the embassy. And I want to play. I want to play this clip real quick here and get your thoughts on the back end of this. Let me get that.
Tonight, more details are emerging in the deadly shooting outside Washington's Capitol Jewish Museum, where Israeli embassy staffers Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky were killed Wednesday night after leaving a young diplomat's event. Investigators alleging in court documents that surveillance cameras captured Elias Rodriguez walking past the victims before pulling a gun from his waistband and firing several shots. The documents say Rodriguez then stood over them, appearing to reload and firing several more rounds before tossing the gun and going into the museum.
I go up to him and I say, "Are you okay?" And he goes, like, call the police, I'm okay."
Paige Siegel attended the event and says she became suspicious and continued to question Rodriguez before he became agitated and grabbed his backpack as police approached.
He's screaming, "Free Palestine, free Palestine."
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
I start screaming, "Get him out, get him out." And I'm like screaming to the police, like, check his bag, check his bag.
Investigators have interviewed Rodriguez and say they're still piecing together his life, trying to talk to people who knew him. Back at the museum, a growing memorial outside to honor the shooting victims. A close friend remembering Sarah as being full of joy and compassion.
These were two beautiful souls that worked for peace and that worked to build our community day in and day out. And so to have them being taken away from us in this horrific manner, it just makes no sense.
Yaron Lashinsky's remains arrived back in Israel earlier today for a short memorial service with his family and a private burial. Lester?
Aaron Gilchrist tonight. Thank you.
Dr. Ehrenfeld, you're seeing we're starting to see increase. I don't know, and you can give us some thoughts on this. I don't know if these are lone wolf attacks or orchestrated, organized terrorist attacks that are occurring. And it's these instances like this, in which you mentioned previously, in the work that you're doing, is finding out who's financing these different organizations and the different networks that are involved with stuff like this. Give us some thoughts on what's going on here and why this guy Rodriguez came all the way from Illinois to Washington D.C. just to carry out this particular attack.
Apparently, Elias Rodriguez was not in Washington, D.C. for the first time. He was, if I recall, in 2017. He attended a very socialist, progressive, anti-American, anti-white, whatever organization meeting in at Harvard University, which was organized by the several groups, but basically by the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the PSL, which is it's part of the Answer Coalition, ANSWER, progressive left, sponsored by China, among others. And they immediately issued a statement that he was with them after he murdered the Israelis, but he hasn't been with them anymore. But there is another, there was a whole roster of other organizations that he had been affiliated with, and what we know about following his social media, what was published, because we don't really have too much information yet.
Yeah.
And there is no really lone wolf. He has been indoctrinated. Apparently, he posted all kind of anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic, anti-American posts on his social media and forwarded them. So it's not. It has been going on for a while. And he just, with so much anti-Semitism and so many attacks on Israel and the Jews, it was clear. I mean, I was surprised. I was terribly upset that this happened, but I wasn't exactly surprised because this was kind of a given that this will happen. And I'm worried about more additional cases like that. And they are not lone wolves. This is the whole anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, anti-American, anti-capitalist, really propaganda that is going on and infecting, unfortunately, many, many minds. And I don't see, since we have free speech in this country, by law, with the Constitution, I don't see that the government is doing too much. But there is a difference, we can have free speech, and we should have free speech, but we should be able to stay alive in order to enjoy free speach, right?
True. Very true.
And the way things are going, apparently many people will be suffering because this really unrestricted incitement. It's not free speech anymore. It's incitement is going on.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. The left tends to try to justify violence by saying, they're exercising their freedom of speech, and it's like, yeah, but you're crossing the line when you're exacting violence.
No, this is incitement. Incitement. They are calling to kill the Jews. They are calling to destroy Israel, to eliminate Israel. Mind you, they are walking around with flags of Hamas and Hezbollah, and both of them are terrorist organizations, designated terrorist organizations by the United States, and demonstrating with their flags and calling to destroy and kill actually Israelis, Jews, and Americans is incitement, and I don't understand. I think it should be against the law.
It is. It's just a matter of people willing to enforce the law. Because, like you just
No,
mentioned,
when it comes to defaming and inciting against Israel, apparently, and Jews, apparently everything is allowed, and it shouldn't be.
True. I agree. Doctor. And to your point, about the flags, because I see it down here in Texas, in Austin. There's constantly some folks holding up Palestinian flags over the bridges and everything else as you're driving. And they're got their Free Palestine little signs and billboards and stuff like that. Talk to us about Palestine and the conflation there between Palestine, Hamas, Gaza, people in Gaza, and everything else. Talk to us about.
Well, there is no actually the Palestine is a made up. It's a fiction. It's a made up state, if you want, claiming to be a state by radical Muslims who want to destroy Israel. There is no, if you look at maps, historical maps, you will not find anywhere Palestine as a state, as a country, nowhere. So there was an area, geographic area, which was called Palestine, in which the British, through the Balfour Declaration in 1917, actually said that this will be area where this will be the country of the Jews. This was because this has been the country of the Jews for 3,800 years. So that happened then, and so later on, after the 48 war, the Palestinians decided, okay, no, they kind of steal everything, so they decided that okay, this will be, they will call themselves Palestinians, but actually there is no such an entity. So it's and this has been really the results. What we are seeing today is the results of the Muslim Brotherhood propaganda, of the Muslim Brotherhood, the political Islam, originated in Egypt in 1928, and they decided to unite the Arabs and to promote radical Islam and Sharia law. What they have to do, they need to find somebody who can be the cause for a lot of demonstrations and fighting and wars, etc. And so here are the different Arab who went and moved actually to stay in that territory. And they don't want a state, for crying out loud. They have been offered a state many decades ago. Clinton tried it, others tried it, and they were not. They're not interested, and they say they want to kill the Jews. They don't. If you look at the Palestinian Authority, the PLO, which was run by Yasser Arafat originally, and now it's replaced with the Palestinian Authority. They don't have Israel even on the map. They eliminate it. They want to kill all the Jews and to destroy the country. And this is exactly what Hamas is doing. And this is what Iran actually wants to do as well, and says so. And, they keep telling everybody, they don't keep it a secret, we want to kill them, we want to eliminate the states, we want, to kill death to America, death to Israel. They say it and they mean it. And this is what they want to achieve. As we have seen recently, as today there were some shootings, still more for Hamas. And Iran keeps saying that, as they are so-called negotiating with the United States, but actually their leader is calling to destroy America.
Yeah.
And he's swearing at the American president, Donald Trump.
And you're absolutely right about that. And
It's time we take them seriously and behave accordingly.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the same, President Trump has said the same thing. Even during his visit over into Europe. I mean, not Europe. Excuse me, in the Middle East last week on his Middle East tour.
Yeah, but he's still negotiating. But they are still negotiating with Hamas, and he's negotiating with Iran.
Yeah.
Iran declared that they want to have a nuclear bomb because they want to destroy Israel, and they want to destroy America. And so, what is there to negotiate? I mean, we have enough examples to see what they are doing. So I don't understand what the negotiation is about, and I don't believe anything else they will say.
Doctor, I agree with you so much there, because I'm a firm believer you cannot negotiate with terrorists, and I don't know why the United States has moved away from that policy.
And especially not with the radical Muslims, because their goal, they think differently. And they believe that's how they believe it. It's not all Muslims are like that,
right.
But a few 100,000 or millions who do are enough in order to destroy us, and we have to survive. So we cannot do business with them. We cannot do deals with them, and they understand only power, and that's what should be done.
I agree. You're here. Ladies and gentlemen, check out acdemocracy.org. That's acdemocracy.org. And check out the website, and you can get a plethora of information on exactly what we're talking about right now. Uh, Dr. Ehrenfeld and her
On that
team.
and much more. On
Yes.
AC Democracy, there is a lot about terrorist financing, about all kinds of radical Muslims, about the Muslim Brotherhood, about the Palestinians and comparisons between them and Al Qaeda, Hamas, and Iran and ISIS, and also about the Soros agenda, which is the radical left.
Hmm. Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, I highly encourage you all to check that out. And Doctor, back on Trump's President Trump's Middle East tour. There, there's the conversation here in the United States that why is President Trump talking with Qataris and doing these deals with Saudis and everything else when these are very entities that are backers of Iran. And so there's like this confusion.
No. Saudi Arabia, no. Saudi Arabia is not a backer of Iran. Saudi Arabia is actually afraid of Iran, and Iran wants to destroy Saudi Arabia so that they will be the leading power among Muslims. But Qatar is supporting Iran, and supporting Hamas, and supporting the Houthis and all the Iranian proxies. And they are corrupting many politicians here and have a lot of investments in this country, including in universities. And although the United States has its biggest airport in the Middle East in Doha, and they are playing nice when they are talking with Trump. I think that I don't know what Trump had told them, but there should be sanctions against Qatar, and it should not be allowed to certainly not play any role in negotiating with anybody. And they wanted to give an airplane to the United States. It's wonderful, but that doesn't actually change anything, and they should be held to account.
Totally. And thank you for the correction on about the role of the Saudis. Yes, you are correct. The Saudis are not in the footprint of supporting Iran. The Qataris and the Houthis and all those guys, they're the backers with.
They actually
Iran.
the Houthis have been shooting. The Houthis have been shooting at Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So shooting missiles.
Yes, and it's crazy to me that the Abraham Accords from the 2016 from President Trump's first administration, the Abraham Accords was set in place to help, I guess you would say, streamline or normalize relations in the Middle East between these countries and with Israel, and it was largely a success. But you have Iran, who's like, yeah, no, we're not going to play ball here. And even President Trump just recently was saying how, the Iran, look at your country, it's desolate, it's destituted, people want to try to leave. You don't have any, it's just garbage. Why don't you just stop with the madness, join, make your country look like Qatar, make your country look like Saudi and everything else. And they're pushing back against that. And it goes to your point about how the mentality of just wanting destruction, terrorism, and everything else, they don't want nice things. And so my question is, why
they want to conquer.
Yes. Go ahead.
They want to conquer the West and impose Sharia law. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And we should recognize that.
Yes. And I'm just trying to figure out why the United States and even other Western countries are still trying to coerce, Iran to be like everybody else in that region. To me, it's either, keep them isolated or delete them off the map and start over. And
they have to. The Persian people are nice. This regime that is running them took over in 1979 and took hundreds of American prisoners, American hostages. and has been the enemy of the United States ever since. They've tried to assassinate American officials. They tried to assassinate American presidents. They are against anything Western, especially America is the big Satan, Israel is the small Satan. And in between Europe, they are just taking over and imposing Islam in many places. And it is causing all kinds of difficulties in Europe. And unfortunately, there are too many of them in European countries, and I don't know what can be done there. But it's not too late to do something here, and we should treat them as enemies. So that's what should be done. And I hope the Trump administration will do something about it.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree. Yet to be seen.
and you can really read about it more at on acdemocracy.org, American Center for Democracy, and many articles, Google Inside, and also look at the Soros Agenda, who represent and funds many of the progressive left organizations.
Yes, and ladies and
So,
gentlemen,
and
go ahead.
so thank you very much. Thank you very much for today.
Yes, I would.
And let's talk again soon.
Yes, real quick, tell everybody where they can find your book, The Soros Agenda, and give us an update on what Soros has been
On
up to.
Amazon, yeah, on Amazon.com, Barnes and Nobles, and look at acdemocracy.org. You will find more information about where to get the book. The Soros Agenda is available at Amazon.com.
Okay, great. Hey,
Okay?
Doctor,
Thank you.
so much. Thank you. Yes, you take care. God bless.
Thank you
and
very
be safe.
much.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ehrenfeld, Rachel Ehrenfeld, The Soros Agenda. You can pick that up on Amazon and everything. It's a great book. Hold on, let me switch over here. My bad. Okay. Yeah, you can pick that up on Amazon. It's a great book. I'm actually almost done with it myself, and it's a Soros boy. Woo wee. He is an interesting character. He's still walking around. I don't understand that, but anyways, but folks, yes, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. You know, not just relegated to the United States, although it's permeating into the United States, it's bleeding over into the United States, it's flooding into the United States. However you want to put that, it's coming into the United States. And we also have to be careful in the same token, in the same breath. We have to be careful not to put everybody that's from said country or said region into the same basket. Okay, you kind of have to approach it in an individualistic sense of, you know, you can tell a person by the fruits of their labor, you know, that whole mantra. And as I've been, you know, going around talking to folks and dealing with groups, chat groups and everything else, I have to explain. Look, I've been over in the Middle East several times. Lived in Europe, you know, for several years. You can't conflate or equate that everybody's the same just because they live in that area. There's infighting in these countries as well, in its regions as well, because of the different mentalities and the different mindsets. And they're from the same either political faction or religious affiliation. They're in the same. It's no different than the United States, where you got the Democrats and Republicans in the political sense, or Christians in the religious sense, or Catholics in the religious sense. We all have a spectrum that we fall under, and you have some that are extreme, you have some that are moderate, and you have some that are just pacifists. And so it's the same application in everything, in every type of society around the world. It's the same thing. So you can't just lump and say, well, this group of people are this because they're from this area. You gotta be careful doing that. You cannot do that. You should not do that. And I don't condone that, you know, and I will speak out against that. You know, I'm like, hey, stop. You know, it's not all of them. You gotta look at who's doing it. Maybe it's a big group of them, don't get me wrong, but it ain't every single person that carries that banner. that affiliates or may have that mentality like said group that you're opposing. It's not like that. So that's why I say you have to take an individualistic approach to these kind of situations. It's very difficult to do. So it's easier to take the easier right than the harder wrong in this regard. It's easier to just lump everybody and say, oh, they're all bad. and be done with it, and then execute your plan or your agenda on the whole entirety. And this is how we saw in history with I hate to say it, but with with Hitler and them, So, but the Holocaust, it was taking it out on everybody, type of thing. We saw this with slavery, take it out on everybody. You see it throughout history that when you don't actually meticularize what's going on and you try to execute something in a mass formation, for my military folks out there, then you're gonna ensue chaos. So that's just my tidbit of advice to you all. There's something to think about and something to keep in mind when you're dealing with groups of groups that's in opposition to you or to your cause or to your belief system. That it's not everybody that may be labeled in that group, because some people are just influenced and they don't know any better. So you have that one-on-one conversation or 1-on-5 conversation and try to educate, try to re-influence them to see things your way versus just go out on an all-out blitzkrieg, and attack them and say, oh, you're all just alike, finna destroy you all. You gotta be careful with that. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get up out of here. I will not be here on Friday. Some plans, some plans were planned before I recognized on Monday that there was going to be that. So I will see you all on maybe Monday. I don't even know about Monday now. There's a lot going on. So, but I will catch you when I catch you. Let me put it like that. So be safe out there. Be safe. Yeah, be safe out there. And I will see you when I see you. And God willing, God bless. Ciao, ciao. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today. Please be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and share. And go to rpurham.com for more information. See you all soon. Take care. God bless.